What are your thoughts around using LinkedIn as a potential referral weapon, I guess is a good way to put it, or a tool?
Yeah, I guess I prefer Tool, but nonetheless, I call LinkedIn the big blue introductions machine. It's designed to create introductions. People use it for recruiting, for finding jobs, for finding employees, for finding new business, for finding all kinds of resources. It's different than other social media. If you look at Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and some of those things, that's kind of word of mouth. And for some businesses, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But word of mouth isn't often or always enough to drive enough business your way, enough prospects, or the right types of prospects. So we have to be proactive, and that's where LinkedIn comes into play. And so I recommend, and by the way, the same principles are at hand here. LinkedIn is just a tool, right? They have to know you, like you, trust you before they will introduce you. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do cold prospecting on LinkedIn. You can, but you have to be very careful, because if you just, hit someone quick with a sales pitch on LinkedIn, it's very rare that that person will engage with you. If you know something about them, if you guys are part of a similar group together on LinkedIn, then that might work. But the better way to do it is to target a niche, a vertical market of some sort, and then use LinkedIn to get introductions to those people. So let me give you a very specific example of how this can work. Amy is a financial professional in Nashville. And so her niche market is Vanderbilt University, right? Large university in Nashville. And so she links with her clients, she connects with her prospects that she's had some sort of a conversation, and she connects with all these centers of influence and champions in the community. And then she'll do a specialized search on different departments within Vanderbilt University, and she'll see the connections, right? She'll see that some of her primary connections have primary connections with these other people, so it's a secondary connection for her. And then she just reaches out to them and says, I see you know George Smith or Professor Smith. How do you feel about introducing me to him? And that's how, she's killing it right now. She says that 75% of the time she gets an introduction. Here's what happens. She'll send Bob a LinkedIn message, say, Link, how do you feel about, Bob, how do you feel about introducing me to George? And 50% of the time, Bob says, sure, happy to, and boom, she gets the introduction. About 25% of the time, Bob will say, well, I'm connected with George, but I really don't know him that well. So it does nothing. And then 25% of the time, and here's the cool part, Bob will say, I don't know George that well, but there are a couple of people I'd be happy to introduce you to. So she told me 75% of the time she gains a connection through LinkedIn. A lot of LinkedIn experts will tell you, and I do this myself, to make the initial connection with LinkedIn and then take the conversation to email. Because it's just a little easier, it's a little less cumbersome. But LinkedIn still has some novelty. I've had prospects that don't respond to an email, and I shoot them a message on LinkedIn, and lo and behold, I'm having a conversation with them.